Hey, welcome everybody. I believe this is our 55th or 54th, depending on the council of the last one, working group meeting, Stacks Government Working Group meeting. Pleasure to have y'all. Happy to be here with y'all as always, and we can get right into it. I'll share my screen. Yeah, we can go right into some weekly stand-ups between the four of us here. Just a brief update on what everybody's working on, of course, and we know the drill. I can start it off. Yeah, so we've finally started to kick off the governance lab and working together and weekly with Juliet here and Ryder Haas, and we're coming to some good work streams and some good workflows when it comes to onboarding folks into the Advocates DAO, one of the system prototypes of the lab. And recently we just got done discussing some paths forward on a landing page to make things a little bit more visible for folks, or polished, visible at least, and accessibility to different parts of the Advocates DAO or different parts of what's going on in documentation and whatnot. So that's exciting. Myself and Haas have been working real hard at trying to spell out a consensus flow document for specs on what PolicyKit and MetaGov can do for us when it comes to decision making beyond what we already have, just in terms of testing and the simplest form implementations of these tools. Now we're trying to really combine the different functions that are in the ecosystem with what's going on in the organization that these tools can give us. Yeah, it's a vague way of describing some of the work we've been doing there. But yeah, we're getting some good ground covered when it comes to facilitation. One of the more important parts of the consensus flow spec, and there might be a link to that somewhere around here, but I'll make sure to get it in. Any blockers to this? No, myself and Haas are just at the spec phase for now, but one potential blocker would be helping Haas out a little bit in terms of dev work. So I know folks at MetaGov and PolicyKit have been eager to work with us, and I think now we'll have some nice documentation for them to go off of. So yeah, that'll likely be happening in the next couple of weeks in terms of finishing off the spec for that doc and other things. The landing page and all of this hopefully gets up and going. But yeah, I'll stop there and let somebody else share and mute.
Hi, I'll go ahead then. So I'm working with Harold and Haas and Ryder on the governance lab. And I've been working on the advocates code of conduct, surprise, surprise, and making sure that this is a code of conduct for the advocates DAO and the advocates group that also is based on the Stacks code of conduct that was originally created. And so working on that now, along with having a meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. on the welcome group to the advocates channel, so where we can greet people and welcome them into advocates and direct them to resources and things like that. And we'll be talking about more work we can do to bring more people into the advocates DAO. So I think that's for me. I don't really have any blockers, and really excited about the work that we're doing and happy to be working with our team, and particularly Harold, of course.
Thank you kindly, Juliet. I'll get on that code of conduct as well. I know you wanted me to add some things about the consensus and the function that was mentioned earlier. So I'll definitely get on that, try to be as concise as possible for myself. But yeah, thank you kindly. This is exciting, and I'm excited about Haas's work in terms of getting that bot to do so much for onboarding and kind of having a team, a welcoming team designed for. So yeah, this is exciting. Thank you kindly. Jason, Jude, you have anything for us?
Yeah, I'll jump in and do mine real quick. So not a lot to update. I have been just handling some personal stuff and going through a lot through the last few weeks. So I really am excited to jump back into things. But I will say, you know, hearing these status updates and like where you guys are headed, I feel like we're right on the curve for something really fun here. So great work, everybody, in what you're doing. And of course, if there's anything needed immediately, do feel free to tag me or to work on it. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue down my backlog as soon as possible. No additional blockers at this point, and over the next 2 weeks, I'll be happy to report some progress.
Beautiful, man, beautiful. Thank you kindly. I know you've been traveling a lot, and no, yeah, this is beautiful. I know we're gonna be doing some beautiful work together. Yeah, I'm excited about these updates too. Long time coming, I guess. But yeah, Jude, you have anything for us interesting?
Yeah, SIP 12 activated. I appreciate y'all's input on the governance front on making sure this was well formed, and it looks like it was very well received. There's like no one voted against it. Everyone likes it. Fees have gone down by 3 orders of magnitude as well.
That's absolutely huge. Great work all around on everybody who worked on that. You included Jude, but I am so happy it went through the way it did, and I do think it really showed how we can put this process into action. So definitely appreciate that.
People were really impressed at how fast we were able to execute on it. I think it's a testament to the strength of this working group.
Yeah, it was a great, I really appreciate the work that all of you have done to move this forward. Thank you so much. And I'm glad to have just had a small part on the working group, but I really appreciate all the work you've done, Jude, and you as well, Jason. Really, I don't think we'd be here without you, Jason, actually. So thank you.
Yeah, 100% agree. Those working groups are a lot of, it's a good class for myself, or in a working group. I learned a lot from Jason and the work you guys are doing, Jude. So yeah, this is amazing. You know, yeah, it's real surreal to see those things in real time. But yeah, I guess that'll be all for stand-ups, unless I missed adding anybody to the call. And we can get into action items or foundation updates. I'm sorry. I don't know if any of y'all here have anything for us. I know I was in a recent meeting with Jenny about, I know one of these was trying to, or discussing, if I'm not mistaken, CAB. Maybe I'm conflating. But,
Yeah, that was it. No, it was cabs.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think we still have those under action items as far as the cabs go.
Okay. Well, I'll save that for later then. Is there anything anybody has to offer in terms of updates here? If not, we can move right along. Yeah, so yeah, SIP working group members, this is what I was thinking of. Jenny had recently gave an update on this and mentioned work that we may be able to help with in terms of showing folks work streams that or workflows that we've come up with, or approaches that we've come up with in terms of a CAB advisory board, right? Or a CAB. And so, yeah, this is the update I have for Jenny. I know Jenny, I think, is kind of put that on the back burner and now thinking about coming back into it. And so, yeah, if there's anything to add here, I know, Jason, you may have something with organizing a lot of how we approach that, or how we can help other folks coming into these positions. But I think that was some of Jenny's comments a meeting a couple of days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so all I'd have to add to that is whenever we're ready to start a new CAB, I can walk them through the same exact procedure we did. It was pretty simple. It was just throwing a little bit of information into GitHub in a formal format, and we would just like follow almost copy paste similar format, do the same definitions. So that can totally be done. So whenever we're ready to start a new CAB, I'm happy to jump in and just replicate that process.
Yeah,
Uh, Just wanted to add that I wrote out the information about the things that we did as the governance cab and our approach to making decisions about what was within our scope. I did a little document on that and handed that off to Jenny. I'd be glad to put it in here for everybody too, but it's basically the work that we did, the decisions we made, and that process that we created.
beautiful. Thank you kindly, Julia. Yeah, I didn't know it had already been moved on that already. So yeah, no, that's a beautiful update. Yeah, unless we have anything else here. Sorry if you hear my dog snoring in the background. Yeah, so here's a request for comment. I guess Stacks Code of Conduct. Do you have anything for us here, Juliet?
No, we have some next steps to do here, which I'm going to get to when I've finished off the advocates, my work on the advocates code of conduct, and handed that off to you and others who will do the final editing. So then I'll get back to this. And there was I had asked some questions and tried to feel people out about whether this should be done as a SIP, whether the code of conduct should be done as a SIP. So if anyone has some, thoughts on that process, I'm glad to hear about it. And bringing community into that process.
I think a SIP is totally appropriate if you want to take that route, because that way we can get a request for comments from the community as well.
Great, thank you, Jude. Then I'll follow up on that as soon as I've got my cleaned up and finished my work on the advocates code of conduct.
Sounds good.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you kindly, Juliet, for all that effort for a while now on that. I know, and now taking on the advocates code of conduct work. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, I guess I gave a little bit of what's going on for the advocates decision-making tools. I think there's some updates here that show the testing, some screenshots and forum posts of some of the testing going on of the tools in the more simple implementations. And now it's I don't think there's a consensus doc in here, but I'll add that as well, so you guys can see how we're ideating on using these tools even further. And again, we will have a simple version coming out and then add to it over time. But this next version will be a lot more sophisticated than what we have now, which is just bare bones of these tools showing up in the Discord and whatnot that is visible in some of these links, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. That'll be it for that, if I'm not mistaken. And I know some of these we've went over before. You want to go over these? I don't know if we have any updates really.
No updates, but that'll definitely be the first thing I'm working on. I'm actually looking at the configuration now, just to how to get our fancy logo in there. Otherwise, should be a quick update. I'll have a pull request against the repo, and we'll just kind of throw it for everybody to take a look at. But I have a feeling it's going to go right through. So that one will be good to go. And then as far as the official domain, that's, do we want to use stacksgov.com? That sounds pretty cool to me. Maybe we could put it to, I don't know, like what's the best way to decide or to move forward on that? Like right now, everything lives at it's a GitHub Pages domain, so it's a little bit longer of a link.
Mm-hmm.
And if we wanted to, we could put this on an actual domain. And pretty sure I have stacksgov.com available. But then, should I do that from me owning the domain? Do we want to transfer it to somebody else? I don't know what the best way to go about some of those little details are. Mm-hmm. But it is something we could do, and it's also very low priority. More just a place so people can go to view the project management stuff and the resources at an actual website versus the GitHub domain. But both seem to work fine right now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it feels like we could just have maybe a session with a better turnout than today maybe is all we need, or maybe if we don't get that in the near future, we just, oh, look like we have coming in. Speaking of more people coming in.
I'd like to keep it quick and simple is really the goal with that. But let me go ahead and get the, first thing I'll focus on is getting our new branding in there, because I think that'll look really nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say if we don't have that turnout, we could just have some sense making between us here. And yeah, if it's just you handling it, I think we're all comfortable with that. Since you've handled everything when it comes to this so far. So yeah, thank you kindly for the update there.
Yeah, I was just thinking it would be, I know Jenny had mentioned that people were really asking about governance and where they can find information on governance. And I know some people aren't as handy with GitHub as having a website where they can go to and see some overviews on the different projects and what's going on. So just something to think about as we move forward.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's why we wanted to maintain this as a resource, mainly for older call information, which we'll also touch on in a little bit here as far as my side, but a nice reference to the things we've done and a way to look back, especially with all the research in the beginning that went into this. So I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement there, but I can get it a little closer to the finish line. We can have consensus on maybe the next call, and then we'll put it up.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. All right, go into discussion. I know I added a link to a Notion that Ryder had put together for us, and other that we're all working on. Juliet included. Haas, I know, is doing a lot of organizing on some of the project boards here. So here's a link for folks that are interested in what we're doing at real time in the GovLab. And yeah, that's about it in terms of anything added to this issue here. But I guess we spoke a little bit on what's been going on in the stand-up. Of course, if there's any questions, we can use this time to discuss it. But yeah, I'll move right along. Yeah, we had a pretty good discussion about this over recent meetings, and I gave 2 cents here about some of the thoughts we're having in the GovLab about it. Is there anything else that we want to discuss here, or we just want to move right along?
I don't think there's anything else to cover until we get to kind of the next milestone on that one, but definitely excited to see it moving forward. I think that's going to help people get more involved and just be a part of the group.
Yeah, I think it's a sleeper in terms of how much it can start to pull together the ecosystem. A lot of different disparate parts of it, right? But yeah, meeting notes cleanup. This might be what you're referring to, Jason.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically making sure some of the older calls that are documented at the top are fixed up a little bit. There were some notes that got out of hand, and some of the earliest calls didn't have notes, but we have recordings. And then catching up the backlog of videos that need to be uploaded to YouTube, which is getting kind of ridiculous at this point, but it is something that can definitely be done in chunks and taken care of. So that's something that Jenny and I need to coordinate on, and then I'll probably be reaching out to you as well for a few of the recordings, just depending on who did the Zoom what week. But we'll be able to figure that out.
And if I'm competent enough to help you put a date on any of this stuff, let me know as well. I know I have a few of the recordings now, but any of the other stuff that you're referring to, uploading and all of this, you just pull me in, and I'll probably annoy you with how much I need help with, but maybe we can help put it in if I put my mind to it.
I definitely appreciate that. Honestly, it was something that we wrote standards and procedures for. So we do have like an outline of how to do things. So it'd be great for us to walk through that together and make sure it was sufficient to do the task. So I definitely like that idea, and I'll touch base with you offline, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah. I know Jenny and yourself are very busy, so I'd like to help if I can.
Thank you.
I just have a suggestion. What about, is there any way to bring the advocates into this to help out with some of this work? I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I think it may relate to some of the things we talked about getting the advocates involved in other aspects of the community.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One of the first spots are the notes, because every video usually we'll take a transcript and clean it up. That's what we've been doing with the more recent ones. Some of the other ones in the past have had like actual typed notes, but I do think a cleaned up transcript is perfectly acceptable in this stage. The only part where it might get a little tricky is who has access to the YouTube account. But that could be figured out as well, because we do want that to be as accessible to people as possible who want to help complete the tasks. But definitely great idea, and we'll try and consider that too.
Yeah, and there's definitely folks more competent than myself at knocking out the or putting it in that work at least. There's a lot of their work revolves around some similar things, YouTube awareness, right? But yeah, thank you kindly, Jason, for all that work coming up and already done. Yeah, I have a small update here for what we're doing with Tua Wampum and STEAM. There's a construction project that's been underway in terms of ideating with architects that work closely with the Longhouse, and there's a base document where they're putting together a bill of materials and putting together promo approaches. And yeah, I know there's a GoFundMe that's not, I don't think it's on that base document, but yeah, there's some interesting stuff here when it comes to buildings in a sustainable architecture on Longhouse grounds. And this is a Longhouse, again, that doesn't have running water, electricity. So this is going to be very important for amenities in social gatherings that they're trying to put together, projects that they're trying to get together for folks that come and visit on the ground, having some comfort level. So yeah, this is exciting for myself, and yeah, I thought I'd add that there, and there should be some recent activity on there very soon for folks to dig into if they're interested. But yeah, I'll move on from there if there's no questions, of course. Yeah, meeting publisher. This is backlog stuff, huh, Jason? But yeah, I don't know if we want to discuss anything else here that we usually discuss in these meetings very briefly as we've come up with them over and over. I have something on Fireside here, which is there's been discussion of logo usage in advocates and mention of Turtle Wolf and Bear. And I think it's a good opportunity to bring the Longhouse into some of our sense-making sessions, even if it's just logo selection or logo ideation. It'd be a nice way to give folks some direct access to the Longhouse's concepts of Turtle Wolf and Bear and how they apply to function in social organization. So yeah, maybe if I can get something like that organized, there'll be something added to this issue very quickly, and one of our first firesides, right? And without lack of a better word, right? And the council fire, the Longhouse would be very appropriate for that, I guess. But yeah, yeah, we can kind of go into other discussion that folks want to get into while we still have each other here, unless you want to talk about any of this backlog stuff, Jason.
No, nothing I want to add there, just things we want to keep in mind until they get replaced with things we're doing. But bounties are related to the roles, and the other two were more just thinking about how to reach the most people possible.
Right. Yeah, and as we move forward with this meeting, yeah, I think all of this will be really important to start addressing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have miscellaneous stuff. I mean, is anything we just want to jam on with each other while we have each other here? I tend to miss y'all in between these meetings, so yeah, I'm happy to just jam if y'all have the time. But if not, we can end early.
Nothing extra to cover on my side, but definitely always good to see everybody.
Definitely is, yeah. And thank you kindly, Jason, for all the work you're doing. It's you literally seem all over the map. I guess it is very literal as of late, but yeah, it's been beautiful to see, man. And yeah, I always learn a lot from just watching you get down. Same with you, Juliet. But yeah, I'll let you guys go.
Thanks, Harold.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, y'all.
All right. Thanks everyone as always.
All right.